All right.
Hey, Masters Lowbrow, Volume 2, Episode 2. Great last episode. We can't really top it, but maybe
I know.
maybe along the same lines here. We have Master Lowbrow, pop surrealist, would you say, or just surreal?
But
Surrealism.
figurative. If you have to put a label on it,
All those
everything's got
labels.
figures, so that's kind of where I. But as a more general, yeah, pop surrealism I use. So
Yes.
just to get people, if what kind of work you do, it's like, well, do you know what pop surrealism is, and that kind of sets them in the right direction.
Isn't that
So
always
if
a
they
weird
haven't
question?
discovered.
Hi, I'm Scott Brook. Oh, what kind of art do you do? All condescending and shit. But thank God for these things, because you could just be like,
Yeah.
dit, here, look.
Yeah, I that's a last resort.
I know, if they're worth it, if the time is worth it, but otherwise, you got to watch the guy. Most of the time, I don't want anybody to know who I am. If I'm going to gallery opening or anything like that, I'll fucking hide. I'll walk in the back door, dude, because have you ever gotten weird comments on things like, it's awful. Oh, I'd love to buy that painting, but the penis really throws off my fucking Christianity or whatever.
Yeah, I always get weird comments. I think people think they're a lot weirder than they actually are. So they start lumping me with like really, really twisted stuff.
Right.
It's like, well, no, that's not really the kind of work I do. But all right, whatever.
Okay,
So,
lump me in
I'm
wherever
sure
you
it's the
want.
same.
Right. You can't
And
control it.
you just go along with it. You don't usually have time to throw all that. So,
Right.
but it's good. It's fun. But in DC, it's a whole lot different. It's like when you're in Virginia, then now that you're in LA, it's a whole different kind of story. But DC's better, but it's not LA or New York. So
It's, would you say people are more open-minded or less politically correct in these other areas, or no?
in the other areas,
You're right.
yeah, they're much more conservative here. Even though it's a pretty liberal town, art-wise, they can tend to skew a little more conservative.
Right.
So,
I always wanted to do a two-person show with you at Last Rites Gallery, dude. That was always my fantasy, like way back in the day. And it was always like, when you put someone up and you're like, oh my God, I'll never be as good as him. I still do that. You know what I mean? It's like, I guess you can't choose, who you're showing with or whatever. But let's kick that to Erica at Last Rites.
Just be
like, come on,
we can still work on that.
That's collabs. How long does it generally take you to paint a show? Your last one, what was it? War on Terror was your show, the last one.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Nice.
So I haven't did a solo show in a while. So my next one, actually, it's next February, the Last Rites.
Oh, okay.
So we just settled on that and booked that. So it's for the end of next February. We got plenty of time. But I've already got started. So
oh, nice.
I got some time. I just need to take a break. So been doing it. Not as many small shows either, and just painting away.
Yeah.
And I just didn't want to. I hate lines, so I wanted to get a good start, and so I have plenty of time to get them wrapped up. So I'm looking forward to it. And lots of fun stuff.
Yeah.
So
any new direction you're going? Anywhere if you want to start tickling our ivories right now? Or are you going in crazy more monsters or?
I don't know. I'm gonna try to make them more.
You can't,
because they're gonna still be pretty twisted. But I'm gonna make them twisted, but with pretty landscapes, and just try to spend time finishing up, and just focus on that a little bit more, and focus on the surface and the figure, and just have a good time, and just not rush. I'm just tired of rushing about it. So.
Do you think your work has evolved? Have you noticed your work has evolved? I mean, I'm looking at stuff from my stuff from 3-4 years ago, and sometimes I'm like, man, that kid had it down. He knew what the fuck he was doing, and he kind of lost it a little bit. I mean, we go through ebbs and tides and flows throughout the year. It's like last year was that year. The year before that was that year. And man, I had a really good year 3 years ago. Why the fuck isn't it that way anymore? I don't know. Are we changing? Do our values change? Do just our life and our perceptions change maybe? I don't know.
No, it kind of goes with just how your life is going. I moved a couple years ago, and it kind of just took a couple years to kind of get settled, and I was also just booked. I think I just had a lot of stuff going on, so it was kind of, I felt like some of the stuff might have been a little rushed. So that's why I started turning down offers and turning down some shows, just because I wanted to take some extra time.
Yeah.
To really focus on this. I also do some illustration, so I kind of went back to that a little bit. Now that into, so that's the other thing painting for last week. So the next show will be, it's just kind of embracing that a little bit more. And the work I've done, books and everything, it's a little bit different. I approach it a little bit differently, and I'm trying to bring that into the painting and really get in deep with it, and which is fun for me, and just to take it as far as I can take. So that's so yeah, I was just kind of tired of the scene for a little while, and kind of stepped back and just focused on some other stuff, T-shirts, than just commercial stuff. So
it's kind of like the mafia. The harder you try to get away, they fucking suck you back in, dude. And you can't get out of it. The harder you run, the faster they come at you, dude.
Yeah, no, it was, but you can kind of, you learn you can say no, and it doesn't hurt you.
Have you learned that? Have you learned to say no? Because as far as I've known you, you've always been generous, dude. You've always given yourself 100% to every damn fool that came off the street. Hey, give me everything. Here, just take. Nice guy, Scott. I never known you to say no, ever. I need to learn that.
Well, to you, only to you. Like I said, here we are.
Right, here we are. Nice.
But we go way back.
We go way back.
We were emailing back. Gosh, MySpace, I think, is when we...
It had to be like probably 6 or 7 years ago,
At least.
Yeah, that was just a game. Nothing has really changed in those years. The technology might have changed, and maybe, we have a few more gray hairs, and maybe, I don't know what has changed, really. My life has gotten a lot better in those 7 years. I don't know, man. I don't know. I wish the same for everybody else, but, the art has improved. A lot of great things have happened in those 7 years, and I think you were hitting on earlier. You're like, well, my life changed, so the art changes. Do you notice you paint happier pictures when you're happier, or do artists need like a breakup or a fucking death in order to paint something prolific? I don't know.
You need a kick in the ass every once in a while, and I think that helped. It's not that it wasn't anything like that. It was just, just great roof again, and just take a break. So who knows?
I don't know.
But we've been doing it for a long time, so it'll always change. So
yeah, that's a great job.
I have more fun now than I have in a long time too. So
nice.
And you're in LA. How long have you been in LA?
Since January 10th of last year, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't even know if I was going to stay. I was going through a divorce, and it was in between, like, where I was going to live and everything, and I just said, man, I'll give it a shot. And then eventually, like, something creeped in where it's like, dude, just stay here. We'll save on shipping. Most of your job or work is here anyway, and that's a silly way to stay here or whatever, but... LA has been like a major adult chunk of life, man. It's been just a major, not so much influence, but it definitely does change things. I don't know, environment changes what an artist is saying too, I guess, sometimes.
Yeah, it's got to. That's a huge thing. Before we bought this place, we were looking. LA wasn't really an option, but we thought about New York, Chicago, Seattle. We looked at, talk about some different ideas, but I like DC. DC's it works great. We're right downtown, and we got a great place. And
DC is awesome, man.
Yeah, and we kind of put away the politics, and we don't really deal with that too much. We hang out mostly with performers and musicians and other artists, and they're all here. And none of them are really that involved with politics professionally. Everybody's into it, but there's a whole lot going on. So
people are generally drawn to their same ilk anyway.
yeah,
We find each other out, we seek each other out and find each other, and we look at each other like, why are we here? Oh my God, what have I done? Well, what you did was creative minds and likes of being, it's all chemistry,
right.
It's so tribal here in Los Angeles too, where it's like, it blew me away when I first got here. Like, there's so many subsects of people, and I'm like, maybe it's a hippie mentality. Like, why aren't we all getting along? Well, you need to, because it's such a fucking big city that I understand why everybody congregates in their own little fucking groups,
Yeah.
And it's kind of indicative of the art community also. I mean, maybe you have 6 or 7 different groups, like the fucking Breakfast Club, the snobs, the slobs, the rebels, the fucking burnouts or whatever. But we're all in the same detention class. You know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah.
You're in the middle of it now. There's I hang out with DC artists for the most part, and some of them show out of town and show, but I'm kind of out of the loop when it comes to the DC or the New York or the LA scene. So I'm kind of caught in the middle, which I think is not a bad thing.
It's not a bad way to be at all, dude. I'm telling you, because the minute that you start looking away from what you're actually... Any time spent outside of the studio is not good time, dude. It's not...
No.
I mean, you may be researching in life to come up with some prolific fucking thing, but otherwise, the most important time is the time in front of that fucking easel. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what's paying the bills, and that's what's evolving us, and that's where our spirit, it really truly shines. It doesn't really... I fail at everything, dude, but when I'm in front of that easel, something happens. Thank God I have that. We always have our talent to, no matter what goes wrong in our lives or this fucking world, we always have that gift, dude, that we could use in order to make money, get love, or get something. I don't know what it is, but
it's an attempt to communicate. I think it's an attempt to.
Yeah,
that's how I communicate.
I was always drawn to your work because I think we're kind of communicating the same thing. We're not communicating the same thing, but we're doing it in different voices. And I like that. I love about your work is that it's a narrative. I could take every piece from your a show, let's say, and make a children's storybook out of it. You know what I mean? There's always a narrative. Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah. Well, thanks. And you're very subversive. You're like that sort of. You're kind of a throwback to this. I don't want to say that in a bad way, but in the 70s or the very 60s sort of underground, subversive. And there's a big part of that in my work as well. I love Crumb and all that stuff. So, and you don't seem to have a filter, which has always been really good.
You don't really need a filter. No, you shouldn't. I mean, if we barely have voices as human beings, and I could go out there naked and scream in the middle of the street, nobody's going to fucking listen, dude. They're just like, I've been there, done that, but you could do that in the easel. You could do that with your canvas. You could say things that would get you killed, dude. You could get, you know what I mean? And you could say whatever you want, however you want to say it. And other people are, and... There's people of like minds who know, I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
And thank you for having the balls to say it,
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, you got, once you kind of, it's like, oh shit, it's like, I know this is wrong and I know I shouldn't do this, but then it's like, I can't not put this down now. I mean, once it's in my head, it's like, I can't do it because I'm afraid somebody's going to be pissed off about that, or they're going to be offended by this. And it's like, it's too late for that. It's like, it's in my head. I gotta get it down.
It's already like in infancy. It's already exists as a intangible existence. Did you ever sit there painting and laugh to yourself? Like deeply laugh, like, this is so fucking wrong, dude. Oh my God.
Right. That's how I know it's a good painting.
That's how you know. Those are the ones.
It's like, oh, that's a good one.
Those are the ones. Those are the bing, 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 win, win, win. Every time.
And unfortunately, they don't happen every time. But it's good when that happens.
How can you can't manifest that 100% of the time? I mean, I look back at old work and I'm like, piffle, where other people thought it was like, yeah. There's certain paintings that I do. There's certain paintings that mean to exist for the public, or mean to exist to pay a dinner, or mean to exist to pay a light bill. And there's certain paintings that mean to exist for a legacy. You know what I mean? I mean,
Right.
have you ever had the mindset like, if this is my last painting, I need to get this out, or I have a legacy of fucking awesome work behind me, but I'm not even evolved or where I want to be yet, really, with where I'm going. You know? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I think I am, and then you kind of push it a little bit more, and you realize how much further you can push it, and and stuff I'm working on now is it's like way ahead of what I had working on, and I always think that, and I know in 10 years it'll be further down the road, it'll be different. So you just got to keep pushing, and it's. I'm still figuring it out. That's why I was like, I'll get it one of these days.
yeah.
And,
It's a full circle thing. It's like infancy. It's like I grew up. Holy shit! I just took 4 steps backwards, and maybe 1 step forward. It's hard to perceive it. It's like living in a bubble or a vacuum to perceive it yourself, because other people see it first before you do. Sometimes, like when a person first sees your painting, when you're working on it, and you know what you're seeing, but you don't really know what the fuck you're looking at until someone walks in and says, "Holy shit." You know what I mean? Oh my God, you have something going on there, young man. And you're like, okay, I guess. And you follow through with it, And
I can also sometimes see it in your own head.
Yeah.
I don't do very detailed sketch. I don't know how far along you take yours, or you do a lot of work in progress. So you have you work it out quite a bit before you start painting. Where mine are just pretty loose when I get started, so I can kind of see in my head where I want it to go, but other people don't really know where that's going. And I can see all the detail, even though we're still months away from finishing.
Right.
They always change, and so people, I don't know what they see when they come in. So
I don't know, man.
It's always up. They're always around. So
when I first started out, I'm like showing people, and I'm like, "Can you tell me what the fuck I'm looking at here?" And they're like, "Whatever you're doing, just keep doing it." And I guess that's the only advice that other artists can give to other artists,
Yeah, just keep going. Certainly, just keep going.
And that's no fucking help, though, because you really want those answers, dude. And no one's fucking helping. It's like, please, can you, you're just like searching for that guidance or something, or, there's that insecurity inside of yourself. Like, does this matter? And if they tell you it does, I guess it does. Or,
if they tell you, but you gotta get that in yourself too. You have to pull that up out of somewhere.
You have to
and
know.
Just keep going. Because at least, you just have to keep going on your own, and it comes and goes, and there are people that can support you. And the gallery thing too, they kind of give you some validation, and sales certainly are great validations. But keep going.
That's all you
I mean, last year was a frustrating year, and then and I wasn't sure where it was going to end up, and I just kept painting and kept creating more paintings. And that kind of lifted me out of whatever it was. So it was, and again, the illustration sort of gave me a different mindset. I hadn't really been into that for a while, and I did a children's book, and I did some stuff that just sort of like got me back into that and the detail, the nitty gritty bullshit, And so it was fun.
Yeah.
So,
do you ever think about doing like an adult children's book? You know what I mean? Or a narrative, just a simple book, but with your own narrative. Like a poetry, like a Dr. Seuss type, where you're illustrate. I'd love to see that. Scott Brooks illustrator.
I got some started, but right now, until next February, I'll be focused on the show.
Nice.
And who knows what's going to happen after that? But I've got lots of ideas. I send stuff to publishers every once in a while, and so we're kind of always working on lots of different stuff that nobody knows about.
Nice.
So just give it to it. But I'm just going to keep painting until then.
I'm looking at my notes here. I actually wrote notes, dude. I'm trying to be responsible, even though this margarita with Mike's Harder Lemonade is really taking me backward.
That's okay. You can just hold them up if you want. I can read.
There you go. There's my show notes, written in crayon like a 4-year-old. Awesome.
There you go. That's fine.
Hypertelorism, where people are born where their eyes are a little spread far apart. Do you know anything about that? Or because always
again?
hypertelorism. I think it's an actual medical word. Where is that?
Wow.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
And I notice that a lot with your anatomy. You know what I mean? Where the faces are, their eyes are a little bit farther apart. I always wanted to be like you, dude, but I could never be you because I don't draw. Couldn't make your magic that way because the media would be like, you're trying to be Scott Brooks. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's one of.
Yeah, I usually get fetal alcohol syndrome. That's what I get from a lot of people. Is that that's the problem? Is that what's going on there, or a lot of different things?
That's wild.
It just sort of happened. But changing around. I'm kind of working with the scale a little bit, and trying not to make that as exaggerated. But I don't really think about it too much anymore.
Right.
It just sort of happens.
It just comes out.
So, yeah, it just comes out.
That's the fun of being an artist. That's your world, and you're creating it. You could be like, man, I'm gonna just do like somewhat a simple portrait, or I'm gonna get fucking epic and add spaceships and fucking an army of douchebags and. Blah. It's your world, dude.
I got an army going on right behind me, which is kind of it's armies are cool. But shipping and everything, I would love epic paintings, but they take so long, and and shipping and trying to move them around, and not to mention the price. But I've got some big canvases here that I'm working on, and we've got some epic ideas, that will come out soon. So,
your work is still like really affordable as far as I could see, because dude, you're like I look at you as like a Rembrandt of our times, and if I could almost afford your stuff, something's wrong. You know what I mean? It's like you are so generous in your pricing, I think, because I don't know, man, it's hard to price, but dude, oh my God, you can still afford a Scott Brooks.
These are going up. The next show will be going.
I hate to do that. I always hate to say that, and I think that like belligerently sometimes, like you better get it now because I'm going to raise like a spoiled little 14-year-old girl. I'm going to raise my prices, and you're going to see, and then I'm going to be really mad and run into my fucking room. You'll see. You think I think I'm cheap? You think you can own me? Well, you can't afford my ass. I'm better than that. Blah blah blah. You know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah, your prices are affordable, dude, and beautiful. I mean, I wanted to bring up the Madonna painting. The Madonna painting that we had. I was curating a show, the I Want My Music Video Art Show. Got that Scott Oss. I want that painting. It's still available on your site. We got to work on something, dude. I don't know, but I want that painting. That painting to me was like a very important like piece of my timeline as I went along, and I'm not curating as much anymore, but the beautiful things that come in when you are curating, and one of the fucking top pieces from the show, it's so beautiful, man.
Right.
When it arrived, it had like bubble wrap things from the shipping or whatever, and that was a conundrum for me too, because it was it was something that I learned as far as like communication with artists, because I was nervous the whole time, especially like reaching out and communicating with you, and I think I was talking with Stephen J. Daly, and I think Dan Quintana was there, and I'm like, oh my God, you got to see this painting. What should I do? Should we hang it? And he's like, no, dude, you got to tell the artist. You got to tell the artist and let them know and let it be their decision. And I'm like, yeah, but this is like one of the fucking cornerstones of the show. We need to show it. We need to fucking show it. Kind of like selfishly, like, and no, it was ultimately up to the artist, and you were just cool about it. You're like, fuck, I glazed it and I just put it in the mail and I didn't know.
It never happened before, and it was so frustrating because I spent so much time on it. Luckily, it was a temporary. I mean, it was an easy fix.
Right.
Once I got it back, but I couldn't do anything. You're in LA, so it was an easy thing to fix, and then it wasn't punctured or damaged or crushed or something. That I can't fix that.
It's all good.
But you guys ended up showing it, and it worked out. I don't think a lot of times it shows people they don't get that close, and I don't know how you handle it, but people they walk by, they look, and then keep going. Yeah, it was a big show. You had some amazing work, so that was just a small cog in the, and online.
Yeah. Oh, it's a beautiful piece. I still want that piece. And people who are, whatever's going on right now, if someone buys that piece, I'm going to be really sad, dude. All right, maybe happy for you overall, or just like envious, whoever owns that piece. Like, take good care of my baby. I love that fucking piece.
It's a good one. And
Yeah.
we have open studios coming up in a couple of weeks, the weekend after next.
Yeah.
So it's the big push. And so whatever, it's fair game. I can't. People come in, they give me the cash, and they take the stuff. So
nice.
It works out pretty well. I don't really show too much in DC anymore, except for open studios twice a year. DC's not really that big of a town, so people know where I am, and people know how to find me. And it works out.
Yuri's Night,
so.
You do? Yuri's Night still involved with that? The Yuri's
show?
Night?
Yeah. We did Yuri a couple weeks ago. Really good friends of mine, Astroprop Productions, they put it on. They're really good friends of mine, artists. It's a big sci-fi nerd.
It's a nerd fest. Always looks so much fun. I always love seeing the photographs from that evening. Yeah, they look so happy.
So this year we did a carbonite. We had one of the characters decided to depart, so we cast her in carbonite.
Nice.
So now I have a her name is Captain Ball Crusher. So now I have a Captain Ball Crusher in carbonate in my house. Full
is it
size.
like the Indiana Jones or the Han Solo? Like the no, like
so,
that.
Yeah, it was funny.
Guys. Dog Baby Studios, man. I just came across that today. It's merch. You know what I mean? Affordable. Pre-show, we were talking about like t-shirt companies that put out product for like $50 a piece or whatever, which is a conundrum because I think I saw a Brian Viveros at a Vans where it was like a $50 t-shirt, and I'm like, that's a pretty sweet ass fucking t-shirt, but I don't know, man. I'm a slob, dude. That shit's gonna get burnt. I'm gonna cigarette burn in it or drop my SpaghettiOs all over it. You know what I mean? It's an expensive placemat. I don't know.
Or you end up painting it or whatever. Yeah, they're like $20 a piece, and there's also prints there too, which are $40.
Nice.
And get stuff out there that's separate, and also kind of a little bit off of my main website. So just a little bit easier way to do it. And that's another thing that's coming up is putting all my websites together. I have an illustration website and I have a fine arts website, and again with I'm just putting everything together. So that's a short-term project as well. It's one of the things you always have to keep going and always tweaking, and it's a pain in the ass, but you just got to do it. So, but Dog Baby Studio is something I've been working on for a while, and finally was able to get it out there.
Totally
just before
clean,
Christmas.
looks great, professional, dude. Looks great. You know what I mean? Easy access through the viewer too. Just going through and clicking through or whatever. Not too complicated, and the product is beautiful, dude. So
Well, I'm always tweaking the product and always trying to get new ideas there and simplifying a little bit more and taking stuff off, and it's a weird thing. It's not really something. The whole marketing and merch stuff is not really my thing, but
money's in the merch, dude. I mean, I've talked to a lot of artists, and they're like, I made $100,000 last year just with prints alone by going to 5 fucking Comic Cons or whatever. And I'm like, I mean, having a booth, or have you ever done that? Do the booth or table type thing where you're
years ago. Not so much anymore. I don't because none of my stuff. I have T-shirts and some prints, and that's about it. But my real work
is the gallery perfection. Yeah.
I enjoy my weekends at home or out and about.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be spending them in an art fair or in a Comic-Con. I like to go. I've been to a couple of Comic-Cons, and they're fun to go to. But such a zoo, it's such a madhouse, and it's like, God, do I really want to sit there and do that? So I don't know if that'll work out for me or not. But
let's fucking do it. Let's just do it. I mean, you know what I mean?
We have one in DC now called Awesome Con.
Okay.
That just started 2 years ago. But those guys, they're ready and they have their shit together. And I'll show up with a cardboard box, and I'm not sure if it's the same thing.
Doesn't matter.
Bach ears or something.
Yeah. It's funny.
Yes, but they're fun to go to. But everything's online now. You know, you don't really have to do some of that stuff. I figure if you get enough strong presence online, you don't really have to go do these art fairs and things. I mean, like the conventions. So you know,
Yeah.
they haven't happened yet, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I mean, I could sit there and say, like, I'm going to paint something. Like, the Beatles would be like, oh my God, we're famous right now. And Paul and John would get together and say, let's write a swimming pool. Okay. You know, or let's write a mansion. You know, and we can almost do that where it's like, let's write an electric bill. Or let's write, you know, you need to do that. I mean, as an artist, we struggle and we need to do that. And sometimes we have to, like, think, instead of painting those grandiose 36 by 36s, which are fucking awesome, and will go down in the fucking testament of time as being awesome, we often have to think economically, like, fuck it, I'll make it 12 by 12. I need the $700 now. You know what I mean? Yes.
A car is what I need, or a truck. That's what I need right now. So,
yeah,
work on that.
Nice.
You know, that's why the illustration stuff kind of pays some of that stuff too, and it doesn't take a lot, but it'll work. It works. So.
Yeah, it works. It works, man. You know, and a lot of people want that too. They'd rather go toward that, a more affordable medium. I mean, the print market is kind of, I don't know if it's cut or neutered the true fine artists, because I've shown in galleries where I could sell a fucking $1,400 piece 3 years ago, and I can't sell a $400 piece now, but I sure as hell could sell a $40 print there. And it's like, damn, you know, okay, I mean, maybe it's strength in numbers or by sales or whatever, but man, it was nice getting that $1,400 check as opposed to fucking 60 or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's funny how money or finances or the art market influence what we're actually putting on canvas sometimes. You know?
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, I hate to think of it that way. I hate to think that it's affecting what I do.
Right.
And I don't know how much it does or not. It's just, I think the main focus from it, or maybe we rationalize it enough that we don't, that it doesn't affect it. But, you know, I'm trying to make I'm more concerned with the surface, and I'm trying to make it prettier in a bad way. It's just, just getting into it more, and I don't think it's a bad thing. And taking more time, and I think that's the biggest thing, is just taking more time on the pieces. And that's a tough thing to do, because, you know, time is so precious for what we do, and it takes, and I feel bad that they take so long to do, but I mean, that's the way it is. I mean, I can crank some of this stuff out, but it really takes time.
Did you ever start a piece and just be fucking piss and vinegar about it? Like, this is going to change the fucking world. And you're 2 days into it like, what the check, please? Fuck it. You know what, man? I wish can you paint this painting for me? Because I don't have the same fire I had under. I thought it was such a fucking great idea 3 days ago. Now I have to commit like 160 more hours to this fucking thing.
We need to talk weeks. I mean, the big stuff I'm working on take me weeks to do. I don't know. I'm able to somehow keep it going. You know, and if you work on a couple different things, I'm working on 5-6 paintings right now, that you put it away. If I really get bored with it, I put it away and I start something new or work on an older piece. And so I swap it around. And so when it's completely dry, you know, I can kind of get back into it a little bit. And if I had to change things around, and so I'm able to. It's a project, and it's something I can just keep going. And I don't know how. I mean, if I get bored with something. I change it, or I'll add something to spice it up.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But and also I don't have time to just abandon it. I can't just abandon it after I've put in so much time, and so I just keep going.
You have any paintings like that sitting around? Like, I did this shit in 1977 as a fucking college project. And you know what, man? You can have it. Just take the fucking thing. I've been carrying this thing around for, I know you, I can just imagine, like, knowing you back in the day where I'd have some Scott Brooks paintings probably. Because you would just probably be like, dude,
if you came up to DC, yes. Yeah. If you were to come up to DC, I would just give you a box of shit.
Nice. All right, can we book that flight right now? Fucking now, people? Yeah. Yes. Oh my god.
But a lot of times there's stuff that's ended up in the trash, and just because I don't want it to be out there, so I take it off. I move it around, and I after moving a couple times, and these are big, and they're just old shit, and then I take it off the canvas and I roll it up, and that's the first step.
And that's it.
I'll stuff it under the bed, and I'll leave it under the bed for like a year, and then it's like, all right, now it's done. And I just dump it and then put it in the trash.
You figure if you haven't seen it in a year, it's not that fucking indicative of your joy right now, you know. But still, I hate hearing that shit. Yeah, I was gonna do this webcast was gonna be me burning art. Just be like, the shit didn't sell. You know what? Nobody fucking cares. You know, and that means failure. Let's burn this shit. Let's burn this art. And everybody was like, dude, burn my art. Burn my art. Dude,
yeah,
I can't even. I'm weird about touching people's art. There's too much respect going on there. I can see my own art. You know what I mean? But somebody else's art? Oh my god! You know.
Yeah, very shocked when I said, yeah, I just kind of tossed it out. But been here. It's like I have open studios and it's there. If somebody wants it, they can make me an offer.
Right.
And you know, I don't say that for all the stuff, but there are pieces that just need to go away, and it's time for them to go away. And if they don't go away after a certain amount of time, they're gonna, one way or the other, they're gonna go away. Because I just know them through.
I noticed that maybe, I don't know, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but you're kind of like documenting your life story in a way, or it's because you paint a lot of people that you know, or people who are in your circle or have been in your circle. Did you ever look back at old paintings like, that's fucking John's face, dude. I hate John. Why the fuck was John in my life at that time? And why the fuck did I paint this guy? You know what I mean? Yeah.
There's not too many instances. I mean, most of them are friends of mine, and we keep up. There's been a couple where people have disappeared,
fall off. Yeah,
but you know, I have them all. I have models or friends come over, and so we do photo shoots. So I see their photos all the time when I'm just going through my reference pictures. But yeah, the earliest ones, they're around, and I'm still pretty good friends with everybody because we're all in DC. I've been here for 20 years or so.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's fun, and they get a kick out of it too. And,
hells yes.
And models, even if they started off as just professional models, become friends on Facebook, and then they kind of follow it as well. So they get a kick out of it, and I've not had any complaints, which is surprising. So
yeah, that's the thing too. I mean, I remember it was like a Woody Allen movie where he wrote a book, and like everybody in his fucking family's like, I know that character is me. Do you really think that I'm fucking incompetent of having a good marriage? And like everybody picked out. I'm like, I know the character is a fucking cross between, you know. I mean, yeah.
They know what they're in for. If people are going to post for me, they know what they're in for. And now I have friends who have kids now, and they're getting kids, and they're like, oh, here, take my child, and take photos of my child. And it's like, are you sure? And they're like, yeah, it would be so cool. And it's like, well, I can't promise what I am going to, with these photos. And so it's, if they're willing, then that's fine. And
nice.
And most models, they kind of know what they're in for before they agree. Or
you don't have to make that phone call at 3 a.m. like, is it okay if I paint little Timmy eating a fucking rabbit, a dead fucking with entrails coming? Is that okay? Is Timmy going to be fine with this as he grows older or whatever? Yeah,
right.
I don't know.
So far, Timmy's just fine with it.
Timmy's cool. It's a love fest. We're going to wrap this up, Scott. ScottGBrooks.com.
Thank you. Yes,
That's the main landing page of all things Scott Brooks.
All things Scott Brooks, yes. Well, thanks. This has been great, man. Congrats.
Nice.
Thanks for doing this. It's past due. So.
Let's do it again. Oh, yes. When I'm on your coast, we're going to party. When you're here, do you have any plans of L.A. or not?
Nothing. We're talking about maybe Portland, Seattle, who knows, West Coast, but we'll see It'd be great. Yeah, I mean, I get out there maybe once every year or two, so but definitely now that you're out there. We didn't see you when you were on this coast much, so.
Yeah, just you know how life is, man. You know what I mean? And now that we have
Right,
the free time, I'm 3,000 miles away from you, but we're here.
Well, this is thanks to technology. Cheers.
Cheers. Vicariously loving you, a million miles away. All right, love you, Scott. Thanks for being on the show. Next week, I don't know, but it might not be as good as Scott Brooks. I don't know. We'll see. See you next Friday.
Good for that.
Nice. Yeah, I was thinking of maybe doing tutorials. You know what I mean? Or just sitting there in front of the canvas and painting something really quick for a half hour. That would be great, dude. I'd love to see that. Did you ever do a tutorial video or a DVD, or did you ever think of going into that?
No, absolutely. I got a guy right now that wants to set up a camera and record me painting, and he just was going to do more as a document, just to document the process. But I thought of making it more of like a tutorial. So
more elaborate and go that far, yeah. Show your palette.
So that could be before the show next year.
That's a geeky fanboy thing for me right there, because I've been studying your palette for years, and I learned so much just by looking at your things. And I've had to take it to other people, like, why does the color come forth? And they're just like, and how do you make things recede? And they'll just be like, grays, dude, grays. And I'm like, oh shit, you're right, you know? And then I take that knowledge, look at your work. I don't know, trying to emulate, take a little bit. And it's just great learning from other artists and techniques. And, you know, I don't know, just beautiful, Scott. Keep up the great work, dude.
And we'll keep going.
Nice. All right, Masters of Lowbrow, thanks for tuning in. See you next week. Yeah.
Right.